let's get this over with. So, Life is Strange is an episodic point-and-click adventure game released in 2015 and was developed by Don't Nod Entertainment. They had previously made a game named Remember Me, which I've never played. Apparently the game didn't sell too well though, and the company filed for bankruptcy or something, I don't know. Anyway, despite all of that, they managed to make another game which would later become Life is Strange. It was originally going to be called What If, and even the name Chrysalis from the first episode was another idea. Apparently over 100 names for the game were considered before the one we have now. But anyway, Life is Strange released to glowing praise from a lot of people and even sold over 3 million copies. At first, I didn't really give two shits about this game for 2 years, but in 2017 I picked it up hoping to have a fun game, but what I was treated to was anything but. Life is Strange has to be one of the worst mainstream games to release in 2015, maybe even this decade. Why is that so? Well, there's only one way to find out. Alright, we're gonna start off with a nitpick here. I really don't like the name of this game. Life is Strange. It's a generic title. Pretty much all the other titles sound more interesting and also fit the game better, such as What If? But that's a minor complaint and isn't really game breaking, I just thought it was something worth noting. Also, I like how each episode of the game starts off with this message saying that your choices matter, because as I will later establish, and as everyone who has played this game more than once knows, that's a load of horseshit. So the game starts off with you playing as Maxine Caulfield. Max wakes up in a thunderstorm next to a lighthouse at night that currently has a tornado ripping everything apart. Right, so it's basically ripping off the intro to Alan Wake. Both start off with the main character walking through the woods at night, heading to a lighthouse, as a tornado rips everything apart. Both are also episodic games, both also start off in a dream sequence, and both deal with supernatural stuff. The difference being that Alan Wake is one of the greatest fucking games ever made, and Life is Strange is much less so. One thing that really annoys me in this game is the first couple lines of dialogue.
Where am I? What's happening? I'm trapped in a storm? How did I get here? And where is here?
Ugh, like Max is constantly just asking questions and it's so annoying. These are questions we as the audience are already asking. Yes, it's okay to show the character being confused and questioning what is going on, but just having them go something like, oh shit, where am I? What's happening? What's going on? And then answer that question like right afterwards. That's just shitty writing. The opening dialogue of a story should not just be some throwaway lines. It should be like the first couple bricks you put on a building. It's there to build what comes next. The opening in particular should grip you into the narrative in an interesting way. This scene doesn't do any of that. This scene does play an important role in the story, but as an opening to the game, it establishes jack shit and thus has no tension. It's really boring. Compare that to the opening of Alan Wake. Okay, I swear I'm not going to constantly compare this game to Alan Wake, but since the openings of both games are similar, I thought I'd do so just for at least this part. Alan Wake's opening establishes the character of Alan Wake, who he is, the main threat that he will be fighting against, and also what he can use to fight against it. It also shows the power his enemies have. The opening of Life is Strange doesn't establish anything other than the tornado, which we don't really learn anything about until the end of the episode anyway. So for now, this is just a random dream. Max then wakes up in a classroom, because she's in like a college or university or something, I don't care. Her teacher is then given some boring lecture on photography, and she's just pointing out things randomly.
Look at this crap. How can I show this to Mr. Jefferson? I can't believe I still have this pencil case. I should upgrade to the 21st century. I haven't kept up with my journal as much as I should.
Yes, it's really interesting when the main character just points out things that are happening.
That sure didn't feel like a dream.
Well, yeah, no shit, it's a fucking dream. When you're dreaming, you're not aware of the fact that you are dreaming, and also the prefrontal cortex, being the part of your brain that uses logic, doesn't really work properly when you dream, so yeah, dreams feel real as fuck. I always find it stupid when characters say this in a story, like, no fucking shit, it's a dream! I'm getting way too angry right now, I will get angry later, but I'm just gonna calm it down a bit. Also, another weird thing about this game is that despite releasing in 2015, it takes place in 2013 for some reason. I mean, it's not a problem or anything, but it's just weird. Like, why wouldn't it be set in 2015? I don't know. Also, a quick note, the FOV in this game is way too low, and there is no way to change it, so yeah. So Max looks around her desk and makes comments about her stuff before then taking a selfie.
To admit, I'm not a...
Shh. I believe Max has taken what you kids call a selfie.
Oh, come on, you know it's her when she's taking a selfie, but not when she's asleep literally right in front of you.
Now, Max, since you've captured our interest and clearly want to join the conversation, can you please tell us the name of the process that gave birth to the first self-portraits?
Okay, just like Telltale, there's like two choices in this game, and these choices are the exact same and lead to the exact same results, so what's the point? Then another character answers, and we get this lovely line of dialogue.
Now you're totally stuck in the retro zone. Sad face.
Ugh, this is just... oh god. A lot of people have said the dialogue in this game is unrealistic and nobody talks like that, which isn't true, but it's still the cringiest shit I've ever heard. The class is then dismissed, and Max walks around and interacts with some stuff.
Of course, Victoria has to have the bestest, newest, most expensive everything. That was amazing when Mr. Jefferson took a class picture the first week. Even though I didn't want to be in the picture at all, it was fairly fucking cool to watch him at work framing us. That printer is amazing. I'd love to see how it reproduces my pictures. I could pump out a whole gallery show with that thing.
Wow, those are some really interesting comments. This is another issue I have with this game. You can walk around and interact with a bunch of stuff, but it never feels as if you're gaining anything from it. Also, look at this description of this camera. JPEGs already have superb quality. Max tries to leave, but then gets stopped by Mr. Jefferson, who reminds her to get a photo in for the Everyday Heroes contest, which is like a contest where the winner goes out to San Francisco and has their art put in an art gallery or something. I don't know, it's not explored until the final episode, so who cares. Max then leaves and listens to some music. Max walks down the hall and comments on some people, but it isn't really anything interesting.
Poor Daniel, he's so nice. I wish I could beat the shit out of Logan.
Yeah, good luck with that. He has fucking adamantium claws. Max also comes across a missing person poster for Rachel Amber. She's someone who's kind of important to the story and kinda not. I'll explain later. Max then heads into the restroom and contemplates life and her photos or some shit as a butterfly then comes into the room, which I guess is supposed to represent the butterfly effect, which is still stupid, and then some rando named Nathan Prescott and some bitch walk into the bathroom, and then we get the Oscar for worst fucking dialogue.
I hope you checked the perimeter, as my step-ass would say. Now, let's talk business.
I got nothing for you.
Wrong. You got hella cash.
The dialogue throughout this scene is just stupid shit, and then the scene goes by so fast that you get no time whatsoever to absorb it. Then Nathan pulls out a gun and shoots this dumb bitch as Max lets out her hand and rewinds time. She then learns that she has the ability to rewind time. How? When? Why? Okay, we're not going to establish anything. Okay. The developers said they didn't want to explore the origin of Max's powers, which is fine, but it does just sort of come out of nowhere, which is really odd and just feels weird in the story. Also, the game breaks its time travel rules within the first minute of it being introduced. You're only allowed to rewind time to like the last minute, but Max just rewound time like 10 minutes. Great, nice to know the game breaks the rules the very fucking second they're established. Max then tries to head into the restroom to save the dumb bitch, but Jefferson won't let her, which is totally accurate to life, by the way. Teachers are like that. So Max uses her rewind power to give Mr. Jefferson all the answers he wants. Also, it's just kind of weird because Jefferson acts nice and kind to Max here, but then he acts in a passive-aggressive manner to her in a few moments later.
Somebody has been reading as well as posing. Nice work, Max.
A few moments later.
And yes, Max, I see you pretending not to see me.
Like, what the fuck? I mean, the conversation afterwards does go a bit differently, but it still isn't anything interesting. Max then heads back to the restroom and retraces her steps, even though she should be doing the complete opposite if she wants to save the girl, but okay. Max then grabs the hammer and hits the alarm, which allows the dumb bitch to escape. Just because? Okay. Also, the game says that you're not affected by rewinds, as you still keep objects and facts. Right, keep this in mind, because this is contradicted later. Also, the dialogue here again sucks.
Hey, do you hear that fire alarm? That means you should be outside.
I had to use the bathroom.
Girls always use that excuse.
Excuse for what?
For whatever you're up to, your face is covered in guilt.
The alarm tripped me out.
Then trip on out of here, missy.
Fucking generic dialogue again. Okay, I could pretty much take any line of dialogue in this game and shit talk it, but I think you get the point. The principal then has a chat with you, where you get to choose whether to expose Nathan for carrying a gun or not. Spoiler alert, the choice does jack shit. The story doesn't change like one iota. Max then heads outside, and there is a lot of characters to interact with, but it's really fucking boring. There's also random petitions for you to sign, which does nothing. There's this one guy who does a portrait of you, which is quite nice, but, you know, that's about it. There's these skater bros, which will have you list skateboard tricks. There's also a drone you can fly, but can't actually control. I see this game is taking the route of quantity over quality. While I'm here, though, I just want to say that the voice acting in this game is appalling. Max always sounds like she has a cold, and it always sounds like the voice actress is trying to keep herself from bursting into laughter.
I came to nose slide, but I'd love to see somebody do a tree flip.
And some characters sound like they have bubblegum in their mouth, which they don't.
Fantastic. I'm by myself for eating chiclet. Pretty soon I'll be bonding with Victoria at the Vortex Club.
And some characters just sound so bored when talking.
You have a lot to learn here at Blackwell. Rachel Amber absolutely had sex with him.
It's like none of the voice actors actually gave a shit. Max then tries to get into her dorm, but the cunt from earlier tries to stop her, and tells her to...
Go fuck yourselfie.
Oh, what a fucking lame insult. Which leads to this stupid-ass puzzle, where Max has to turn on the sprinklers to the max, and then damage a paint bucket so it falls and lands on this bitch Victoria, thus covering herself in white paint. I would make the obvious bukkake joke, but whatever. Max does all this despite the fact that she could just walk around them. There's plenty of space on like both sides. Just walk around them. Also, going back to the whole you keep objects thing. You can take a picture of Victoria covered in jizz here, and later this rando Warren will ask for a picture of it, but if you took the picture and then rewind time to choose the other option, you no longer have the photo. Breaking the rules again, aren't we? Then again, I guess you're rewinding to a point before the object existed, so... okay, fine, fair enough. Point retracted. So Max then looks around her room and plays guitar, before then discovering that her flash drive with movies is not in her room, and the rando Warren wants it. Max then goes to get it from Dana's room, but she is locked in a room from the outside without a key. Juliet then says that she locked Dana in a room because of a sext or something. Who gives a fuck? Max then goes to Victoria's room to prove that she's innocent. Yeah, you know, invade someone else's privacy, that's great. And then we get this funny-ass line.
That is a tasty plasma. Maybe I could sneak in and watch Final Fantasy Spirits Within. I don't care what anybody says, that's one of the best sci-fi films ever made.
So Max then presents the evidence to Juliet, and she sets Dana free. Max then gets the flash drive and also sees that Dana is pregnant. Nothing really much happens of this though, so who cares? Max then notices that the security guard, David, is picking on another student, Kate, and Max can either intervene or take a picture. This choice will have only minor differences, so there's still not much reason for it to exist, but okay. Can I just take a second to talk about the visual style? Not a fan. Like, there's times where I get the feeling it's trying to look realistic, but then there's other times I get the feeling it's trying to look like a drawing. Like, it can never really decide if it wants to be one or the other. It just looks weird. Max then meets up with Warren, and... oh-ho! Friend-zoned. They basically just make a bunch of pop culture references.
Ha ha. Make sure you watch Cannibal Holocaust.
Seen it. I was more disturbed by all those emo vampire movies in there.
That's another thing this game does. It makes a bunch of random pop culture references. Now, I love pop culture references. In fact, that's one of the main things I like about the Deadpool movies. But pop culture references have to at least have something to do with the material itself. Like, for example, in the first Deadpool, when Deadpool says,
"You ever see 127 Hours? Spoiler alert."
He isn't just making a random reference to 127 hours. He's making a reference to it because he's doing something very similar to what Aaron Ralston did in that movie. If you're just going to make these random pop culture references all over the game, especially when most of them have nothing to do with the game, it's just going to get tiresome and boring. Then we get this line of dialogue.
Have you ever had a dream so real it was like a movie?
Do I even need to explain why this line is stupid? Nathan then comes and attacks Warren and Max, but then Chloe, the girl from the restroom, comes by and picks her up, and Max leaves Warren to get beaten up by Nathan. What a cunt. They have a conversation in the car about stuff we've either never experienced, or just recapping the game. Either way, it's boring and doesn't really keep me engaged in the game. Sometimes it's even just cringy dialogue.
I would think you'd fit right in with the art school hipsters.
Right. You look like the cover of hipstergirl.com.
At least you're still a smartass.
Ugh, fucking stop already, please. Oh, and also, Chloe is voiced by Ashley Birch, who you may remember from Hey Ash, What You Playing?
Hey Ashley, what you playing?
Zelda, the Ocarina of Time.
Epona, here's your song. Get the fuck right here. Zelda's hat, was it weird? She looks like a nun.
So they then stop at Chloe's house, and it's just more walking around and interacting with stuff that you gain nothing from. Max then finds a cassette player, plays a cassette, and also has a photo of Chloe and Rachel. And Chloe talks about how they were like friends or lesbians or some shit, yada yada. Chloe then starts smoking. Okay, that 420 meme isn't funny anymore, I'm sorry. Max then heads to the garage to fix her camera, which broke, and the tools are in a locker with a key. Max then turns on the washing machine to get the keys off of it, but they fall under the desk and she can't get them. Now in this situation, what would you do? Catch them as they fall? Nope. No matter how many times you rewind, apparently Max lacks the ability to just reach her arm out and put them under the washing machine so that when the keys drop, they land in her hand. So no, she instead puts an envelope under the desk and pulls the keys out with an envelope. How is this game rated so highly again? Max then fixes the camera and this dumb shit happens.
Wait, I've seen this before. No way. When did you take this? You took this photo, you brat? In the bathroom today. You set off the alarm. That's why Nathan raged after you. It totally makes sense.
Oh come on, you never actually went around the corner in the restroom and you never saw the butterfly. Stop bullshitting me, okay? Chloe then blasts some music, and then her stepdad comes up and Max hides, or you cannot hide and it leads to the same outcome.
My stepdad will kill me if he finds you here.
Why? Why would he freak? It's just a... What? Her stepdad then finds weed on the desk, and you can either come out and say it's yours, or stay in the closet, and then this happens.
I wish you'd leave, Joyce! Like now!
Woo! Can we get a replay on that? Max and Chloe then head to the lighthouse from earlier, and they just recap the day and talk about Rachel Amber, and also how Chloe was kidnapped or raped by Nathan or some shit, I don't know. We are at the end of the episode, and the game has still not answered the most important question. Why? Why should I care about the characters? Why should I continue to play the game? The game sets up all this stupid shit, but it never gives me a reason to care. It never answers the question of why. Why should I care? Max then blacks out and has the dream about the lighthouse again, and this time sees a deer. Apparently it's supposed to be her spirit animal or something, I don't know. Also, I just want to show something real quick. The game has a tree block your path, but you can rewind time at any point, meaning you can sort of teleport yourself past it. Keep this in mind.
Okay, I see you're a geek now with a great imagination, but this isn't anime or a video game. People don't have those powers, Max.
Oh, for fuck's sake, honestly, stop. Snow then starts to drop all over town, and we get a final shot of Rachel Amber's file, and then the episode ends. Ugh, fuck. We've only just gotten past the first episode. So yeah, from my analysis of episode 1, you can probably tell how much this game sucks. The dialogue is cringeworthy, the voice acting is completely garbage, the writing constantly breaks established rules, and overall the game has not given me a reason to care about anything in it. Great job. Alright then, so episode 2 starts off with a previously on section, which, to be fair, does make sense considering that, unlike Alan Wake, the episodes in this game were released individually throughout the year. Episode 2 then starts off with Max in her dorm, waking up to indie music again. Anyway, episode 2 is called Out of Time. Haha, very funny. So anyway, Max has to meet Chloe in a diner in like 40 minutes, so the first 10 minutes of this episode is pretty much just Max showering and getting dressed and shit like that. Yes, really exciting gameplay. Max then talks with Kate for a bit before then showering, before Victoria comes in with her friend, and they say more cringy shit. They also do write a link to a video of Kate at a nightclub getting like drunk or something. Now here's one detail about this game that I do like. If you type in the web address written on the mirror, it will actually take you to the website of Kate's video, but the video itself has been taken down. It's a nice little detail. Max then gets dressed and gives a book she borrowed from Kate back. Max and Kate then talk about the video with Kate, and how she implies Nathan drugged and raped her or something? I don't know.
I remember getting sick and dizzy.
Go on.
Then Nathan Prescott said he would take me to the hospital.
Did you go?
Definitely not. I'm not sure where I went.
What do you remember about that?
All I recall is driving for a long time. Then I woke up in a room. I thought it was a hospital because it was so white and bright.
Go on. I'm listening.
Somebody was talking to me in a soft voice. I thought it was a doctor until I heard Nathan and felt a sharp sting in my neck.
Then we get this ridiculous line.
How do I get a viral video taken down? Oh, you dumb bitch. Oh. Anyway, Kate then asks if she should go to the police. Should I go to the police?
Why the fuck would you go to the police with no evidence? How am I supposed to care about this character when she's the dumbest piece of shit ever? Well, that's not true, the main character is dumber. Also, as Max returns to her room, she finds "Nobody messes with me, bitch" written in blood. How the hell did the individual have time to do that? And in case you're wondering, it is blood, as when you start episode 3 you can see it turn brown, so yeah, it's blood. Max then takes the bus to the Two Whales diner, and then Max meets Chloe's mother, and she cooks Max some breakfast. There are some characters here you can interact with in the diner, but once again, none of the conversations or interactions lead to anything and are very pointless, and overall just boring. They then have a conversation about the events of the first episode, but it's just generic, boring stuff. Like, this is the issue I'm having with this game. Only around 10% of the dialogue actually means anything. When you can cut like 90% of the dialogue and lose nothing, then yeah, like what's the point? Chloe then comes in, and this is a really fucking dumbass scene, alright?
Let's talk about your superpower.
So, Chloe wants proof that Max can rewind time. Seems fair, but the way they do it is ridiculous. Chloe asks Max to guess what's in her pockets, like cigarettes, keychains, a parking ticket, and some coins. She'll then ask you about certain details, like how many cigarettes there are, what type of keychain it is, when the parking ticket was, and how much currency she has. The thing is that if you get any of it wrong, then you have to start from the beginning. Alright, this is dumb for a few goddamn reasons, alright? 1, it's been established that Max can rewind time and stop at any point, but they only allow you to start at the beginning of the challenge. So the game is breaking its own rules again. Lovely. 2, Why does Max have to get all 4 things exactly right? 3 out of 4 answers should convince Chloe, but no, I guess. 3. Max has been shown to have the ability to teleport herself using her time powers and rewinding in different spots, yet she never uses that teleport ability here to prove her powers. I mean, even if Chloe isn't convinced that you have time powers, seeing Max teleport like right in front of her would get the ball rolling on the belief of Max's powers. But no, instead of just teleporting right beside Chloe, she instead has to do this stupid fucking game of guessing what's in Chloe's pockets, and then Chloe plays this game on you where you have to guess the unfolding events in the diner. Once again, even if you get 3 out of 4 correct, you have to start from the beginning. All of this could have been solved from Max just teleporting right in front of Chloe. What the hell, game? Padding much? Now, I was trying to think of an explanation for this, like maybe Max teleporting isn't canon, maybe it's just a gameplay mechanic. That seems fair, but my theory was broken in episode 3, where there's an entire section that requires Max to teleport into a room in order for the story to progress, so yes, Max teleporting is canon. This entire scene is just so fucking dumb, to be honest. Anyway, Chloe is now convinced that Max has time travel powers, but Max's nose starts bleeding, a la Riley Rewind. In fact, now that I think about it, Life is Strange is basically a video game adaptation of Riley Rewind, only even worse. And also that web series came out like 2 years prior to this game, or at least like a year prior. Max and Chloe then leave the diner, but Max gets a call from Kate, and you get a choice whether or not to answer it or leave with Chloe right away. Why can't Max just do both? Why can't Max answer the phone and get in Chloe's car? Why is it one or the other? It's an artificial choice that sacrifices logic for a stupid-ass character moment. It's not like the call is long anyway, it lasts like 26 seconds. Max and Chloe then head to a junkyard where Chloe asks Max to find 5 bottles for a shooting range. Hey Chloe, have you ever considered that maybe there aren't 5 bottles? Or at least 5 normal bottles? You know, bottles that haven't been broken yet? Because it's a goddamn junkyard? This leads to a stupid section where you just walk around and grab 5 bottles. By the way, the reason why I haven't talked about the gameplay in the game is because there practically is none. Most of the gameplay consists of just walking around and grabbing stuff, choosing pointless dialogue options, or just really dumb puzzles. It's the bare fucking minimum interaction required for this to be classified as a video game. In fact, when doing this video, I was actually considering calling this video a film analysis video because this game might as well just be a film. Anyway, after finding the 5 bottles, it leads to this minigame where you tell Chloe where to aim in order to shoot the 5 bottles. It's basically that one scene in Telltale's The Walking Dead where Lee teaches Clementine to shoot the bottles, only in that game it led to actual character growth. Here it just makes these two look like jackasses. Also, if you shoot the bumper of the car, then this happens.
Jesus, I shot myself! Ugh, I shot myself! Back up, back up!
Gun?
Oh yes, it's the gun's fault that Chloe shot herself. Yes. Smart one, aren't you, Max? They then shoot the car wheel to take out the last 3 bottles, and then Max passes out randomly and wakes up as Frank, another weird-ass character, comes in and needs money from Chloe. He threatens both of them with a knife, and then we get more dumb shit. Max rewound time each time Chloe missed the shot, and the 3rd bullet in the chamber was used on the car to take out the last 3 bottles, so there should be at least 2 bullets left in the chamber, but now the gun is empty, I guess. Reality can be whatever I want, because I'm the writer of this game. What's also really stupid is that whether or not you choose to shoot Frank, you can rewind time to before this happened. So why doesn't Max rewind time and then tell Chloe that they need to leave before Frank comes? Whatever. Max and Chloe then go on the train tracks and reenact that one scene from Stand By Me, and then sit down on the tracks and have a conversation on the train tracks, as Max then blacks out and has another vision, and Chloe somehow got her foot stuck in the track. Oh, I get it now. They use the blackout so they don't have to give an actual reason or even show how Chloe's foot got stuck. This results in a stupid-ass section where Max has to do a bunch of things to get Chloe's foot free from the track. All they had to do was take her shoe off. Looking at the shot where she's stuck, I'm even wondering how is she stuck. It looks like her foot is just wedged kind of in the tracks, It looks like it could easily come out if you just pull it out. But whatever, so far the episode has been missing a life or death scenario, so we have to artificially create one and add it in, despite it making no sense. Jesus Christ, this game's fucking stupid. Like, that's the thing, like, once again, so far this game has not given me a single reason to care about these characters. They just act like a bunch of jackasses, and they're using time travel for the most trivial stuff. There's no interesting uses of time travel in this game, apart from maybe in episode 3, but even then, it's really stupid and dumb. But I'll get to that later. By the way, that was completely unscripted, that was just me going off on a rant. Chloe then drives Max back to her university because the classes are starting soon. Then they also discuss chaos theory. Max then gets back, but there is this weird moment where Max is talking to this girl, Courtney. It's weird because both Max and Courtney are voiced by Hannah Tell, which should be awesome, but Hannah's voice for both characters sounds so similar that it feels as if Max is talking to herself.
Hey, Courtney. Ciao, Max. No photos, please. I have to come up with a guest list for a Vortex Club soiree.
Really?
Oh, like you care.
Max then catches Kate talking to Jefferson, and Kate walks away crying. Max then begins class, but some rando comes in and shouts about some shit going on, which is totally accurate to life. People do that all the time in universities. Turns out Kate is about to commit suicide from jumping off the roof. Max then stops time so she can catch up with Kate, which is weird because she has never been able to use that ability and never uses it again, so I guess they just randomly gave her that power for this scene. It's just really weird. I mean, it's not unbelievable or anything, it's just that its inclusion in the story feels forced. Max then does reach the roof, and there's this weird minigame thing with the dialogue options where you have to pick the right option in order to get a certain outcome. Pick the right option and Kate steps down. Pick the wrong option and she attempts to recreate the scene from Back to the Future 2, but the DeLorean never catches her. The thing about this scene is that depending on what choices you have made surrounding Kate, this is a very weird scene because of Kate's responses.
Max, seriously, don't come near me. I will jump.
Okay. I'm right here. Kate, please.
Oh, Max, I know you want to help me. I love that you stepped up to David, but it doesn't matter now. Nothing matters.
Like, she will go through moments of calming down and then go through moments of hysteria back to back, and it just takes any tension out of the scene because of how fucking skewed the writing is. Like, it doesn't matter if you've been constantly helping her, or constantly hindering her, or even act neutral to her. This will happen no matter what you choose. It also really doesn't matter how much you try and convince Kate, the only parts that matter is the end. So you could have been completely nice and welcoming to Kate the whole way through, but at the last second she just decides, fuck it. You know, it's nice that my choices mean jack shit in this game. Another weird thing is that Max conveniently loses her rewind powers as she gets to the roof, just randomly. Like, this is the issue with the game. In order for it to create these situations, it has to randomly break or flip the rules of Max's powers. Anyway, it's not like it matters whether you save her or not because she's barely in the rest of the game. The only real scene with her, if you save her, is a scene in the hospital with her. So what's the point in a scene like this if it affects nothing? But yeah, sure, my choices matter somehow, fuck off. There is then a scene where Jefferson, David and Nathan are present, and depending on your choices you can get any of them suspended. But once again, it has zero effect on the story. Don't start each episode saying that your choices matter when they clearly don't. The episode then closes out with an eclipse and another indie song. The issue with episode 2 is that it doesn't do anything. It's just filler, and pretty shitty filler at that. It doesn't develop any of the characters, it doesn't do anything interesting with time travel, it has characters act in completely illogical ways, and even the big ending of the episode loses all meaning. It's a shitty episode, and so far the game has gone nowhere past the time travel mechanics. Out of the first 2 episodes, the only thing that has happened is Max getting her powers and reuniting with Chloe. There has been zero character development or plot development. But episode 3 is where the plot does start to get going. Not very well though. I mean, if it takes until we're 40% through the game until the plot actually starts to get going, then what's the point in the first 40% being there? Anyway, episode 3 starts off with Max reenacting the first Matrix movie. You see? I can make pop culture references too. Max then wakes up to a notification on her phone.
Kate!
Okay, I actually laughed at that. Chloe then tells Max to meet her by the opening of the campus. Okay, I guess that's good. The episode is wasting no time getting stuff started, unlike the previous 2 episodes, so that's an improvement. It's kinda sad that I have to praise basic fucking writing skills, but okay. Max then uses her phone as a flashlight to navigate through the halls. A phone light. Are you kidding me? That drains battery, you dumbass. And if you get in trouble, no one will be able to call you because you ran out of battery. A phone light should be a last resort light source, which in this case it isn't because there are lights in the hallway Max can turn on, or better yet, just get a flashlight. Max then goes around the campus before getting noticed by the principal and having a conversation that goes nowhere. So Max then has to sneak up past the principal before then meeting up with Chloe.
Booyah!
Oh wow, a jump scare, really? yeah, fuck off. Quick note, I just wanted to point out that the majority of time when you're interacting with characters, they're just standing or sitting down, barely animating, and on top of that, saying really boring dialogue that goes nowhere. Wow, I'm really engaged in this game. If this was a movie or a TV show, people would be ripping apart the writing and storytelling in this game to shreds. But it's a video game, so it gets a free pass for some reason. I don't get it. They do come across Jefferson and Victoria appears to be hitting on him, but he leaves. To be fair, this does have a payoff in episode 5, so this isn't just a random scene. Also, why does his beard look like it's painted on? Once again, the visual style in this game is all over the place. I actually did some research for this video and found out that all the textures in this game are hand painted, which is impressive, but it ultimately falls flat. Max and Chloe then try to break into the principal's office, and this scene is really, really dumb. None of the keys they have work, so Chloe starts to lockpick the door, but Max has a great idea: build a pipe bomb to blow the lock off. Which means there is a section where you go around the school and collect materials for a pipe bomb. But here's the thing, as soon as she does blow the lock off, an alarm goes off.
That was so fucking cool! Oh, we are toast!
And then she goes into the office and rewinds time to before they destroyed the lock, and then lets Chloe in. If her plan was to just break off the lock, why didn't Max just kick the door in or smash through it with a heavy object? If her plan is to just get inside and then rewind time, why wouldn't she pick an easier option than building a fucking pipe bomb? But padding, I guess. This game already has enough of it. Also, yes, this is the part I was referring to when I said that Max teleporting is an actual canon thing and not just a gameplay mechanic. So then Max and Chloe look through some files about Rachel Amber or Nathan or Kate, which makes sense since there is a lot of mystery surrounding those people. So they then find out that Nathan was responsible for getting Rachel kicked off campus or something. It's never brought up again, so who cares? They then find a weird-ass drawing that continuously says Rachel in the dark room. Pretty ominous stuff. There is also a joke here that I actually find kind of funny.
But maybe we shouldn't leave without a gift.
No, you are not taking the cozy chair.
Max, do your powers include mind reading? Or did you just rewind because I tried to steal the chair? Shit, I'm confused.
It's the powers of best friendship. I know how you roll.
Okay, that was a good one. I'll give the game credit for that. They also do find funds for the handicapped, and the game gives you the option to steal it because Chloe can use it to pay off Frank. Once again, nothing about the story changes if you do or don't. They also find out that David, the security guard dude, is responsible for some stuff going on, so they decide to go home and look through his stuff. But not before more pointless padding. They then decide to go into the pool on the campus and have a swim for a bit with more cringe-worthy dialogue.
Why look, an otter in my water. Dun 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 dun.
Ugh. And more boring dialogue that doesn't develop the characters at all. Stop. Just stop. I also like how the game constantly uses music to trick you into thinking a scene is emotional or powerful. Too bad that shit doesn't work on me, you're gonna have to try harder. Then the security guards just come out of nowhere because we have to have a dramatic scene, but we couldn't find an organic way to do it apparently. It leads to a random ass stealth segment which is also boring. They then both get in Chloe's car and spend the night at her house. Okay, I'm pretty sure they had sex. They almost certainly did. The game then gives you this option.
Stop second-guessing yourself, Max. Put this on and let your inner punk rock girl come out. You can afford to take chances whenever and whatever you want to try. For example, I dare you to kiss me.
What?
I double dare you. Kiss me now.
Nah, I'm not into that gay shit.
Sorry, not that easy.
I tried so hard and got so far.
So Max then gets on some clothes that belong to Rachel or something. The part that actually annoys me is that she doesn't shower before putting her new clothes on. The reason why she put on some new clothes is because her old clothes got attacked by the chlorine in the water, but I guess she's too dumb to realize it's on her skin too. Okay. By the way, we're halfway through the episode and nothing has happened yet, or at least nothing much. We still need to look through David's files. Like, as I've mentioned before, that's another major issue with this game. It takes forever for the plot to get started, and even when it does, it sucks. Max then has some breakfast, and what's funny is that if you eat the breakfast and then rewind time, Joyce will only serve you 25% of the food you had. You dumb idiot. They then look through some photos and more boring dialogue. Chloe then comes down and tells Max to look through the garage on David's laptop for some files. You have to then find the correct password, which isn't hard because it has options for you to already choose, so you just have to keep doing them until you find the right one. David then comes back and you can choose whether or not to expose him, but once again the story does not alter in any meaningful way based on your choice. You know, don't nod, the illusion of choice only works for those who can't see past the illusion. Anyway, they head to the Two Whales diner where Frank is at, and they need his keys to get into his RV because Max found photos of him and Rachel together. So Max goes in and uses her time travel powers to get the keys. They then go inside and more stupid stuff.
I should have known. The amazing Spider-Max.
Oh great, more random pop culture references. Just what I needed. They then throw a bone for the dog and get in the RV.
The doggy is busy now, but he might come back.
So what if the dog might come back? You're in the RV now. What's the dog gonna do? Break out his AK-47 and shoot up the RV or something?
Good to know Frank has a knife lying around.
What? Are you implying that it's not okay for him to have a knife in his kitchen? It's a kitchen. Yes, it is totally not okay for someone to have a knife in their kitchen. No, it's not okay for someone to have a knife in their kitchen. It's a fucking knife. Of course they're gonna have it in the kitchen. No, I'm just gonna kill myself for this right now. They then find some files that show Rachel was having sexual intercourse with Frank, and Chloe storms out of the RV. Then there's some more boring dialogue in the car. Max then gets back to her dorm, and we get the dumbest shit imaginable.
Oh my god.
Someday Dad'll get one of them newfangled computers.
I hope the flash didn't scare you, Max. This is a keeper.
Not until I see it first. You know the rules, Dad. Max, tell him.
Max is able to go back further in time using photographs. Okay, now the writers are just making shit up. Before, they were just breaking the rules of their own time travel, but now the fact that just out of nowhere, she gets the ability to just go back in time with photographs just by looking at this one, despite the fact that she's been looking at photographs the entire game. Yeah, what the fuck? And don't tell me that she has to be in the photograph in order to go back in time, because in episode 5 she can go back to one that she isn't in. What a load of horseshit. Max goes back to 2008 and then prevents Chloe's biological father from getting into a car crash. How does she do it? By hiding the keys to his car. Why does she have to do that? All she has to do is delay William, the father, a few seconds, and then the car crash won't happen. But no, let's hide the keys. What's also weird is that Max sounds the same at age 13 as she does at age 18.
I thought it would be quiet here. Feels so weird to be back. Yeah, I just... Yeah, I'm fine.
Anyway, her preventing William's death changes the timeline in 2013. She is now a popular girl in school and is part of the Vortex Club, a weird club that has been going on since the 1980s, and if you read some of her text messages, she's even more of a bitch than before. David is now a bus driver, and of course, Chloe is now crippled from a car crash. And then the episode ends. Still a crappy episode, but at least something happened that actually pushed the story forward. Alright, so episode 4 starts off with Max and Chloe walking across the beach. Mostly Max doing the walking. So they talk about some more stupid stuff before enjoying the view. One piece of credit I will give the game is its use of the golden hour. It does capture that feeling of time and summer, and it does it quite well. Anyway, after more cringy dialogue, they get back to Chloe's house and Max does some more pointless exploring. How am I supposed to care about the characters when, as said, the interactions with them are boring, pointless, and cringy as hell? Anyway, Max finds out that the medical bills for Chloe are really high for the parents to keep up. The two then spend the night watching Blade Runner, and then in the morning, Max and Chloe look through some old photos. Then Chloe hits us with this.
Listen, Max. My respiratory system is failing, and it's only getting worse. I've heard the doctors talking about it when they thought I was zonked out. So, I know I'm just putting off the inevitable while my parents suffer along, and I will too. This isn't how I want things to end.
What? What are you saying?
I'm saying that being with you again has been so special. I just wanted to feel like when we were kids running around Arcadia Bay and everything was possible, and you made me feel that way today. I want this time with you to be my last memory.
So the game then gives you a choice to euthanize Chloe or not. Now, I'm not going to judge the morality of this decision, but this is a pretty dickish thing for Chloe to ask. Like, oh yeah, Max, I'm in extreme pain, but could you please kill me right now and then spend your entire life in jail for murder? It's not like this death means anything or has any impact because immediately afterwards Max uses the photo that she went back in time with to 2008 to reset the timeline back to how it was before. So yeah, wow, I'm really emotionally moved by this death even though I'm just going to negate this entire section afterwards. Also, instead of resetting the timeline from 2008, why doesn't Max just go back to the photos within this timeline to save Chloe? Or is it one of those things where bad stuff inevitably happens anyway, in which case, nothing Max does throughout the game would matter, because bad shit would happen anyway. So, yeah, that's pretty stupid. Like, the issue with this game is that there are at least a million different options the main character could try in order to fix stuff, but she never does. Okay, bye bitch. So Max then goes back to 2008, resetting the timeline, and then there's this weird conversation.
Max, you are being so fucking strange. Like you're never gonna see us again.
Chloe, I'm so sorry. I tried to make things different for you. I did try. I'm sorry.
What's the point, Max? She has no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, we get back to 2013 right where we left off, which makes me wonder why this entire alternate timeline section exists. It doesn't drive the story forward, Max doesn't progress as a character, and nothing was gained from it. So what was the point in this entire section existing? Padding? Okay. You may say that she learned messing with the past doesn't make the future better or something, despite one of the two endings directly contradicting that message, but okay. The entire alternate timeline shit is just padding. If this section was cut from the game, what would you lose? Like, I'm not saying everything in a story has to service the story itself, but there has to at least be a reason for something to happen in a story. If something just happens just because, then it isn't a good story. The story loses its magic. Alright, so then Max goes snooping around David's shit again before they head off. If you save Kate, there's a sequence where you talk to her in the hospital. I guess it's nice that the game is taking your choice you made into account, even if it doesn't really matter, but you know, it's still nice anyway. Afterwards, Max and Chloe then head to Blackwell in the boys' dorm to go to Nathan's dorm and try to get some clues. Alright, we're an hour into this episode and only now has it just started to get started. Stop with the fucking filler, you limp dick retarded writers. Nathan's room is locked, so Max uses a fire extinguisher to break through the lock. See what I mean? Why didn't you just do that in episode 3? It's the same type of door. So Max then gets Nathan's phone and heads back to Chloe as Nathan comes back, and then Warren shows up and beats the shit out of him. I'd like to add that Nathan hid his phone with sellotape on the back of the chair. That's the worst place to hide it. What a fucking dumbass. Also, Nathan picks up his gun afterwards and doesn't shoot any of them despite being happy to do so just a few moments earlier. But oh then, we wouldn't have a story, would we? Character consistency, who needs it? Alright, the two then go and meet Frank, and... okay, I'm gonna have to give the game some credit here. This scene can go a few ways, such as both Frank and his dog Pompidou getting killed by Chloe, or getting hurt, or some other stuff, but during my playthrough of the game, me and Chloe were able to find common ground with Frank, after all the bullshit that's happened, and the near-death situations we've been in with him. For once, my choices actually mattered, and it was actually quite satisfying to finally resolve a conflict in a way where both parties end up in a positive light. Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. Too bad it took until episode 4 of a 5-episode series before any of my choices or any character interaction actually mattered or had any meaning behind it. But this scene alone is good, so I'll cut the game some slack. I'll give it some points for that. Anyway, they went to Frank to get some intel on Nathan, and then there is this big puzzle for the player to solve. I didn't find it that hard, but at least the game is trying to have some gameplay. Trying isn't enough though. As Yoda said,
"Do or do not. There is no try."
Also, I don't think this was a good idea because the plot was really just starting to pick up some speed, but then they bog it down with this boring ass puzzle. So they find the location of a barn using the clues, and then they head there. So then they head into the barn and make a bunch of random, unfunny references.
God, this is way too Blair Witch. These hooks are used to lift haystacks. I saw them in a Friday the 13th movie. Good evening, Doctor Who. Sorry.
Oh, fuck off with the stupid pop culture references. I'm getting sick of this now, okay? Stop it. By the way, just to clear something up, I'm not saying the things the game is referencing is bad, I'm saying the references themselves are bad. Anyway, they find a hatch and break it off, and then we get a bunker with a key code. They stumble on a room with photography equipment, and they assume it's all Nathan's. They find some files with weird photographs of Kate and Rachel, and they assume Victoria is next. But then they head to the junkyard to find Rachel's body, as one of the photographs showed Nathan burying her. Bury? It's spelled with U, so I guess it's bury. Anyway, they head there and find Rachel's body, which they never actually show us despite this being an M-rated game, but okay. So, we've been spending a huge amount of time looking for Rachel, and she just ends up dead. Normally I would be okay with this kind of sad conclusion, but this entire plotline was just a bunch of boring filler leading up to an obvious and really uninteresting climax. Anyway, they head to the Vortex Club to get Victoria, or at least warn her. Then there are 2 moons in the sky now, and I love Chloe's reaction.
Beautiful. I don't give a shit. The world is ending. Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much my reaction to this game, I don't give a shit. They then take a picture with Warren, which is relevant in the next episode. Max then heads up into the club, playing the gayest music I've ever heard.
I love this song!
Also, I just realized a lot of the people here are drinking alcohol, despite a lot of the people here being underage, because, like, the drinking limit in America is 21, so there's a lot of underage... the fucking university is allowing a bunch of underage drinking at the party. Yeah, that's great. Max then walks around the club looking for Victoria. Max then tries to get into the VIP area, but her name isn't on the list, despite the fact that there is a choice in episode 3 where you can put your name on the VIP list. Wow, the game forgot its own choices. Also, the animation of the dudes in the water looks really, really bad. Max then decides that another way to get into the VIP area is to just push this lane reel so that one of the speakers falls in the water, meaning 2 guys come out after her, but she rewinds time so it's all good. Wow, the game ends a conflict as soon as it starts. Also, Max, you didn't have to push the lane reel that much. I mean, there was already some amount of room to squeeze through. You can even see it in the cutscene, there's already enough room for it to squeeze through by the first push. Dumbasses. Max then does make it back here, and does meet Victoria, and the conversation goes on for a really long time, but it mostly just boils down to Max warning her or something. Alright, anyway, Max and Chloe then get out of there as they announce Victoria as the winner of the Everyday Heroes contest. So then Chloe gets a text from Nathan saying that there won't be any evidence left in the junkyard. They head there and...
Oh, no. Chloe! Look out!
What the fuck?
Chloe.
Oh wow, I'm so surprised. The creepy photographer is the villain. Wow. Great fucking twist, game. Episode 4 then closes out. The first hour of this episode is just filler and can be cut easily, and then the rest of it is just plain boring. But hey, there's only one more episode to go, so let's get this over and done with.
We're in the endgame now.
Episode 5 starts off with Max stuck in a chair with duct tape. This is the dark room referenced in episode 3 and then seen in episode 4. Also, Victoria is here too, so I guess us warning her was pointless. Max then immediately starts screaming.
Is anybody out there? Please help!
Now, normally this would make sense, but Max has already visited this place, so she knows it's in a barn in the middle of nowhere in a bunker. What was she expecting to get by screaming her head off? Anyway, as established, Max is stuck in the chair with duct tape, so obviously it's going to be hard to get off. What? Okay, I guess she just yanks it off immediately. Also, if it was easy to get that one off, then why not try it with the other ones? Max then uses a photo on the trolley to go back in time to Jefferson taking pictures of her.
Hold that stare there! Stay still! I knew you were special the second I saw your first selfie. Yes, I still hate that word. But I love the purity of your own image. Not like Rachel, who was always looking in the wrong places. Poor Rachel.
Oh great, he's a generic crazy dude now. So this dude just kidnaps people and takes pictures of them? He doesn't, like, you know, kill them or anything? This is a weird fucking villain and not in a good way.
But this room is under 24/7 surveillance, so all I had to do was text you from Nathan's phone. And you fell right into my hands.
Oh, now we get the even more generic villain explaining his plans now the hero is captured. Pfft, whatever, I don't even give a shit at this point. Anyway, we get back to normal time with Max. She has a conversation with Victoria and then uses another photo to travel back in time. More generic villain speech later, blah blah blah, bloody fucking blah. It's revealed that Nathan killed Rachel by accident because of an overdose or some shit. Max then gets Jefferson to give her back her diary, and then Max uses the first photo she took in class in episode 1 to go back in time. The game then gives you a few extra options, but who cares? Max then texts David and warns him about the dark room, and Max gives him a photo for the Everyday Heroes contest. This does change some things with the timeline, but other things stay the same, I guess. I don't fucking know. I thought the idea was that, like, you change one thing, you change everything, but I guess the game just, like, makes out that rule whenever it wants. Max is then on a plane heading to San Francisco. Okay, one thing that doesn't make sense is this white fog here. That only happens when Max goes to the past using a photo, but this scene here is in the current time, so what the fuck? Anyway, Chloe is alive and it appears Max has fixed everything. Max then ends up in an art gallery in San Francisco where her art has been stored. Max then blacks out for a second and has visions of the storm. Max then gets a call from Chloe about the storm and Chloe gets yeeted by it. So she uses her photo in the art gallery to go back in time and destroy it while time is ripping itself apart. But wait, this scene doesn't make any sense. Max can't go back in time to destroy the photo, because then the photo is destroyed, meaning future Max can't use the photo to go back in time. The fuck? Anyway, Max ends up in the dark room again for some reason, and Jefferson has burned all of Max's photos. But in this timeline, Max did tip off David, so he comes in, and Max has to constantly rewind time to warn David and help him. Okay, how the fuck does a random university teacher defeat someone who was in the army and had combat training? So you then get a choice to either tell David that Chloe is dead, or not tell David that Chloe is dead, but this choice doesn't matter since Max has a plan to use the photo she took with Warren to go back in time and fix this. So at this point, this is just an option for you to be a cunt. Max then drives using Jefferson's car to the town where the tornado is ripping everything apart. On the way, Max gets a message from Nathan.
You have one new message. Message received yesterday at 9 p.m.
Max, it's Nathan. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt Kate or Rachel or I didn't want to hurt anybody. Everybody used me. Mr. Jefferson is coming for me now. All this shit will be over soon. Watch out, Max. He wants to hurt you next. Sorry.
Oh, for fuck's sake. He was a dickhead the entire game, and now you're trying to convince me that deep down he truly cared and is truly sorry. No, Nathan never does anything good throughout the game, so it's hard to believe this. With someone like Victoria, it is shown that she can be a good person despite some of the bad stuff she does, so when she acts like a good person it feels like a genuine character development, whereas here, this is just the developers pulling this scene out their ass to try and get you to feel sorry for Nathan. It doesn't fucking work. Anyway, she arrives at town and everyone is dying. You do get a chance to save some people, but who cares? We're gonna go back in time and fix this shit anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, everyone is held up in the diner in the storm. You can interact with a few of them, but once again, it's just boring dialogue. Warren then gives Max the photo, and you can choose to either hug, kiss, or just leave him alone. Whatever, I don't fucking care at this point. Max then reunites with Chloe, and Max tells her everything that's going on, and even about the alternate timeline.
I changed your past, and I had to make a terrible choice, and
Max, please tell me. I won't be mad at you.
I was able to go back in time to the last day William was alive. I stopped him from leaving, but you ended up in a car crash instead.
Random, but oh, okay. So we then flash forward a few days to the beach. This is it, we're in the endgame now, I guess. So Max and Chloe decide they'll be safe at the lighthouse from the beginning of the game, but Max then blacks out. So the next 30 or so minutes of the game is just a weird-ass dream sequence. First, it's in Jefferson's class with birds flying into the window, which I think is just trying to be dark for the sake of it. We do get this funny thing, though.
I just wanted to know if you'd like to spend the rest of your life in my darkroom. Your purity inspires me so much, and we could be so happy together. Who needs selfies when I can give you portraiture?
There's no way I'm saying that. No way.
Oh yes, I am saying that. I'm the player, I'm in control here. Anyway, the game then turns into Silent Hill's PT with Max walking through repeating rooms. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done talking about this shitty game. Let's talk about a good game like PT instead. Alright, so PT is probably one of the best horror games I've played in recent years. Ugh, okay. So it turns out that my script for the video has rules. One of them being I can't just randomly switch games in the middle of a video. It also says I can't randomly just say fuck it and leave without good reason. Which is a bit vague, but whatever. So okay, I have to talk about this game. We're at the end anyway, who cares? There are some visions of Max's past choices that are supposed to guilt trip you, but I'm almost certain you were supposed to make certain choices in order for this scene to be effective. Like, Kate appears in this dream sequence and blames you for saving her.
Hey, Kate.
Max, why did you stop me from jumping? What kind of friend are you? You never understood me, or what happened to me. Now my family will never leave me alone, and that means I'll always be alone.
Even though she voluntarily stepped down off the roof, the game probably intended for Kate to jump off. Sorry, but guilt trips like this don't work on me, game. Max then gets to the right door and everything is backwards. Max then enters the girls' bathroom and we get another boring stealth section that goes on for a while. Max then ends up in a snow globe of a lighthouse as the scene of William leaving plays for some reason. Max then gets a text message from people blaming her, which should be a cool storytelling gimmick, but it's just boring text. Then there's a section where a bunch of characters talk smack about Max. Max then ends up in the diner with a bunch of different codes, however only one of them is reflected in the mirror, and that's the right one. One detail I do like is that if you put in the wrong combination 50 times, then Max breaks the fourth wall and blames the designers of the game.
I'm going to make the designers pay for all these bullshit code puzzles.
So then all the characters appear in the diner as Max finds an alternate version of herself.
Who are you? Holy shit, are you serial? I'm you, dumbass. Or I'm one of many Maxes you've left behind.
Now, I was hoping this interaction would lead to some interesting retrospective of Max's actions throughout the game, but no, it's just another generic, oh, I'm an alternative bitchy version of yourself.
Man, you are so stupid. I'm embarrassed to have the same name.
Max then takes a literal trip down memory lane, and I will admit that the visuals and style here used for this section was pretty cool, but then we get to the ending of the game, and this is where the bullshit hits its peak. Fuck, even people who like this game hate the ending. So, let's take a look.
This is my storm! I caused this! I caused all of this! I changed fate and destiny so much that I actually did alter the course of everything!
Max, this is the only way.
I feel like I took the shot 1,000 years ago.
You could use that photo to change everything right back to when you took that picture. All that would take is for me to...
Fuck that! No, no way! You are my #1 priority now. You are all that matters to me.
Maybe you've just been delaying my real destiny. Look at how many times I've almost died or actually died around you. Look at what's happened in Arcadia Bay ever since you first saved me. I know I've been selfish, but for once, I think I should accept my fate. Our fate.
Chloe, I can't make this choice.
No, Max. You're the only one who can.
What the fuck? After the game telling you that your choices matter, it boils down to this. So there's two different endings to this game. You can either choose to save Chloe and Arcadia Bay dies, or you can save Arcadia Bay and Chloe dies. Let's analyze them both. So in the ending where you save Arcadia Bay, Max uses the photo from the beginning of the game to go back in time and let Chloe die. Because of this, the storm and other weird events that would destroy Arcadia Bay don't happen, because of the whole butterfly effect thing if you read into it. Okay, first off, how is Chloe tied to the storm? That's never explained and it's a major plot point. Second off, how did Max and Chloe come to that conclusion? I watched the entire scene at the lighthouse multiple times, and they just sort of do come to that conclusion without any actual reasons. Third off, this means the entire fucking game is pointless. Max has reset the timeline now, meaning that everything you did throughout the game never happened. Every choice you made, every conflict you settled, every fucking thing doesn't matter. Chloe then gets a funeral and Nathan gets arrested but rats out Jefferson, so all is settled. And then we get a stupid ass indie hipster song as the game ends. What a terrible fucking ending. It makes the entire game pointless. The entire game is negated by this ending. So what's the point in me playing the game if nothing I did actually fucking mattered? Also, one of the main objectives throughout the game was to keep Chloe alive, and there were even multiple sections throughout the game where you have to save Chloe from her dying. But this ending negates all of that. You fucking dumbass writers. You fucking stupid retarded cunts. What were you thinking when you wrote this piece of shit? In the second ending, Max tears the photo and they both watch as Arcadia Bay gets destroyed and everyone dies. Alright, this ending also negates the whole fucking game because every character you've interacted with, aside from Chloe, is now dead, and any character growth you had with them is now meaningless since you let them all die. This ending does have a better song at the end though, so I guess that's cool. Also, how is this ending portrayed as happy when the other ending is portrayed as sad? Everyone fucking died, you assholes! How is this a better ending? Oh, because Max and Chloe can now live out their lesbian fantasies or some shit. Fuck you. You didn't earn it. So yes, this ending also makes the game pointless. Any choice you made in the game has now been negated, and that's basically what the ending of Life is Strange boils down to. You either negate the whole game by resetting the timeline, or you negate the whole game by letting everyone die. Fucking hell, even Mass Effect 3's ending wasn't as bad as this, because while your choices ultimately didn't matter, it wasn't like the whole journey was negated. How in the living fuck does anyone like this trash piece of shit game? In conclusion, Life is Strange is one of the worst mainstream games to release this decade. The story is complete garbage, with it breaking its own rules of time travel, having boring-ass character interactions and dialogue. The gameplay is so non-existent that I was tempted to call this a film analysis video. The characters themselves are poorly written, and are only plot devices to push the story forward in the lamest way possible, and the ending makes the entire game pointless by boiling down to two options, both of which negate the whole fucking journey. How this game won the Best Story BAFTA award, or how it is rated so highly by people, will puzzle me for the rest of my existence because there are no actual redeeming qualities about this game. There are moments of the game doing something good, but in terms of an actual quality the game has, I can't find a single one. This piece of shit game is being praised as high art. That is a slap in the face to pretty much every single point-and-click adventure game that has done much better than this game has. Fuck this game, and fuck you don't know.